We are here with Misha Lockamy, and you've actually, okay, I'm jumping in quickly, but because I just know Misha. Let's start here. What are your career sales at so far?
About 57,000.
Okay, so just under 60,000, super cool. So senior FSM. Why did you start working with Cutco when you were brand new?
I actually started because I wanted the knives. My little brother worked, I was not a PR. My little brother, a couple of years before I started, he was going to school and he got this weird knife job and he asked to do a presentation for me and I was like, yeah, I guess whatever. I didn't buy anything from him. I think I got like a pizza cutter, but it wasn't like the Cutco quality that like, but every time I was using my knives for the next 2 years, I was just grumbling and just like, I need Cutco. Like, this will not work for me. And then I saw an ad and I was just like, ooh, maybe if I get the job, I can get some knives out of it.
Totally.
I went to apply just to get the knives. And then the contest where I could win more knives made me stick around. And then the environment, and then seeing that it actually could be a career position, just...
I've actually worked in multiple territories. Because I know you lived in El Paso and worked there for a while. You lived in Albuquerque area, right? Lived there. I don't know if there's been others, but is there something like? Is there a way that you think how you built lead bases in different areas, or how you got started somewhere new?
There's actually tons of ways. I have a ton of stories of how I ended up with a customer. I actually, it was really funny when Josh today was talking about. When he was talking about the best places to do phone time and stuff like that, I was like, no, none of those places work for me. And Brett was talking about it too. I'm a coffee house phoner because I can't do it at home because there's kids, and then I can't really do it at the office because there's newer reps who always want to ask me questions, and that's great. I love to help with that, but not during phone time. Yeah. So I go to a coffee shop and I've built customers at coffee shops just from people asking me, what are you doing? And I'm like, let me tell you. Let me tell you what I'm doing. Tell your friends.
Right, totally.
I've set up demos for cops that have pulled me over. I'm not saying get pulled over.
That's funny.
Just because it's like, oh, well, now that you're done giving me a ticket, have you heard of Cutco?
Right, exactly.
There's a ton of ways. Pink slips are a really good way. I called everybody in my neighborhood. The first time I moved into the neighborhood, I did the neighborhood approach in every different neighborhood that I've been to in new cities. Service call leads now, when you're a new rep, you can't do service call leads, but just really getting it out there what you do. And I'm really excited about what I do, even at times when I'm taking time off because of my son, but I'm really excited about it. So everybody in my life knows what I do.
So it sounds like even just not being afraid to just talk to anybody that you talk to.
Yeah, no.
Just sharing what you do.
Yeah, everybody. They're, it's really funny. My roommate will be like, somebody will be like, what do you do? And then my roommate will be like, please don't ask her what she does.
Right, totally. I've gotten that before too, because we're the weird sort that are excited about our positions, right? Our jobs, our positions. Do you have favorite pieces since you love the products, which we all should love the products. I do as well.
I do. I think I use the butcher knife more than any other knife.
Which is funny because you don't eat meat.
Yeah,
right?
I don't eat meat.
Not that it's only a meat knife, but share with them what you use.
We use basically the same knife. I mean, we have basically the same diet, but I use the butcher knife for cutting through melons. I use the butcher knife. I actually use the butcher knife for fun, like small jobs, like cutting an orange, or like just because I think it's really cool. It's like a mini machete. You feel cool when you're using the butcher knife.
It is fun when you have a small melon, like rather than like being where you like put it on it. It's like you're like chop, because it's like fun to do that and it works.
Exactly. Anybody walks into the kitchen and sees you with the butcher knife, you're intimidating.
Yeah, it's fun. It is a good knife. I have mine engraved actually. It's great. It has my name on it. Other than the butcher knife, any other favorites?
I sell a lot of the new K-Bar knife. I really like the K-Bar knife.
The K-Bar Explorer?
The K-Bar Explorer. That it's not so new anymore. There's newer things, but as soon as it came out, I was super stoked because I was a fan of K-Bar before I even knew what Cutco was.
Right.
So I tell anytime I can tell that they're a knife fan outside of Cutco, I'm just like, ooh, did you know?
Right, exactly.
Did you know that the K-Bar is made in the Cutco factory now? And that's actually the way that I have sold to 2 cops who have pulled me over is by talking about K-Bar. You know what K-Bar is?
Nice.
Well, of course I know what K-Bar is.
Well, the funny thing is K-Bar has actually been made in the Cutco factory for years, but we were never allowed to sell it because it's not a Cutco product. But now the reason they explore is something Cutco reps can work with is because it's the first one that's a Cutco. It's like a mixture of Cutco and K-bar.
Yeah.
Right? So it's got some Cutco features, it's got some K-bar features. So we're able to...
I did know that too.
Okay.
I learned that
just make sure you know, because we studied... Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. We actually met the guy that runs K-bar at the factory. He's a great guy, so... He loves his job, too. He loves making K-bar as much as we love making Cutco. That is for sure. Any other favorite pieces besides... I'll just round it out with a third favorite piece.
Third
Butcher
favorite,
knife, K-bar.
third favorite piece. I really like Cutco. I like all of them, and I'm probably one of those people that actually uses all the knives in my block. I have a signature block at home, and it's customized with half of them have my name or somebody's name on them or something. Just random pieces that I ended up with and came up with a signature block. And anytime someone tells me, like, I really only use like 1 or 2 knives in the kitchen, I cut a lot of meat, and I'm like, dude, I don't even eat meat. Like,
I know, I use them all.
I don't eat 90% of the things that you eat, and I use every single knife in that block. And if I'm using the wrong tool and the other one's dirty, I just get frustrated and I have to go like wash the one that. So I like all my Cutco.
So I guess one tip would be, especially if you're a newer rep, would be use them and don't just get used to using one and use it for everything. Actually use them for what they're for, because you do notice a difference.
Yeah, you definitely do. That's also like a very. I haven't been really looking at the camera at all.
It's okay.
It's kind of weird. You're not a real person. There's one specification with each tool that I can come up with, whether it's something that they can relate with or not. Because I have a very specific diet, so there's a lot of places, you know this, there's a lot of places that I can't eat, or just it's not as good to eat out as to just cook at home. So I cook everything pretty much from scratch. And having Cutco really has improved the quality of my life by saving me time, saving me money, saving me energy in the kitchen, and making me enjoy doing what I have to do anyway. And there's so many housewives out there that just, if you can express that to them through experience, then they're just like, they're like, wow, you're right, especially if they're using all the tools and you're like, use this one for this one, use this one
Totally.
for this one.
Which reminds me of one of my favorite questions that I was even taught as a rep all those years ago, which is something along the lines of, do you cook because you have to or because you like to? So you ask the customer, do you cook because you have to or you like to? And it doesn't matter what they answer, because if they say they cook because they have to, then you're like, oh, you're going to love Cutco because it's so easy to use, and it's out so much faster. You'll be done so much faster.
You're going to start enjoying it.
You'll either start enjoying it, right? So you'll either start enjoying it, or if you still hate to cook, you just get the job done faster and easier, so you don't have to hate it as much. Or if they say I love it, then you're like, oh, you're going to love it because it just makes it that much better, and it's a great product.
I'm a combination of the two. I cook because I have to, and because I love cooking.
Right.
So it makes it easier, something I have to do anyway, and it just makes me enjoy what I'm going to enjoy anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Cutco is great.
But Cutco is great. So the point of this is Cutco is great.
Cutco is great. Use your Cutco and get as much as you can. So it helps to have, his sample kits obviously only come with a few pieces, but it really does help to have more pieces to show.
Contests are a great way to kind of to go back on your previous question. Yeah. One of the reasons I'm still here is because the longer I work for this company, the more knives I get out of it.
Exactly. You usually get them for contests. You can get them for going to conferences in a lot of cases.
Exactly. I have so many table knives.
You can get samples. You can go on Vector Connect, and there's some really good samples deals where you can only get one ever, but it's a really super deal.
The more knives you have also, I mean, you can explain more of the knives because you can actually show them how they work and let them hold them and things like that, and they're more likely to buy something they can hold in their hand. But if you have an excess amount of table knives or something like I do because of all the conferences, then you can use the table knives to give away as prizes for different things.
Absolutely. Getting more leads.
Getting more leads, things like that, or whether it's table knives or veggie peelers or whatever.
Yeah.
The more Cutco you have, it definitely does.
Totally. And I've talked, so yeah, if you do find that you're getting some extra pieces from conferences or contests that you already have, I mean, obviously it always makes good gifts, you can always, whatever in that aspect, but I've heard many reps say that I just use it for the free item instead of bonus points, because that way your CPO is still higher.
Exactly.
So stuff like that.
I have this chef friend, for example, that about a year into our relationship, I was like, just let me do a demo for you. You just have to know that my knives are as good as yours. You don't have to buy any from me. I just want you to have a respect for what I do. And he was like, okay, fine, you can do the demo for me. And after the demo, he didn't buy anything, but he was like, okay, I'll give you this. It is not the scam that I thought it was. And I was like, that's all I needed. That's all I needed from you. And
the chefs are like the hardest critics, by the way, of all people.
They are. And a year after that, it was actually a couple weeks ago, he called me and was like, so I'm tired of replacing my knives.
It's time for you to have the guarantee to replace my knives for me. That's awesome. So,
yeah.
So you seem very, like, just from my communication with you about Cutco, I would guess that part of why your customers get into it is because you're very enthusiastic about the product. And enthusiasm definitely is contagious to the customers. I don't know if you can teach it, but if you were going to give, you know, a couple of things to reps of like, here are a couple of things you can do, even if you're not naturally enthusiastic, here's a couple of things you can do to maybe at least be more enthusiastic on demos, or maybe start leaning that way. What would be
well,
tips?
I'm annoyingly enthusiastic, and so I would not recommend you be like me. I would actually recommend what you said earlier, just use the product, because the more you use it, I don't know anybody who's not enthusiastic about Cutco who uses it all the time. I have customers who I talk to once a year, and I have this voicemail that I have saved on my phone from a customer who called me and was like, Misha, I just got my cheese knife. I'm using it to cut potatoes. And it's just this random voicemail that she called me, and like, she was a really quiet lady, but she sounded so excited on the phone. I play that voicemail for my customers. Like, this is one of my other customers after she got her cheese knife, and they all laugh. They always laugh about it.
Great.
So hearing somebody else be enthusiastic about it, their friends who referred you to them, tell them, like, call them and tell them, don't sell it to them. Just let them know what you think about what I did. So just
funny,
using
do you have any testimonials that you keep?
Yes, actually,
That's one thing that, since you just mentioned another customer's opinion.
Yeah, I have tons of testimonials. There's so many reasons to get testimonials. I never forget to get it. There's a lot of reasons for getting testimonials. It makes me feel better about my job when I'm down. I just read them, and
absolutely.
I have so many testimonials that I'm just like, oh, look what I did for her
that
day.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, there are testimonials. I mean, I used to get them from my customers too, and there are testimonials that say stuff like, it changed my life, or I think it is the best product on the planet, or it's the only thing I've had for 40 years that I still have.
There's testimonials that mention me by name, like, that are just like, it's so great that she came over and sharpened my knife. She was so nice. And I'll just look at it and be like, oh, I'm nice.
Exactly.
So just actually, the best way to be enthusiastic about the product, my little brother, who started before I am, he is the most introverted, melodramatic person you will ever meet. And if you mention Cutco to him, he only worked for the company for 3 months, and he will swear by Cutco. And he, like, his eyes light up. It's so cute. So if you use the product, you will get enthusiastic. And he's actually, I don't know, 5 years after he sold it, he's one of my customers now.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah, that tends to happen to reps that once they sold Cutco and then like a decade later you run into them again, they tend to be really good customers. So one thing that I'm going to mention, which you probably do and just aren't thinking of, because when you were saying that stuff, it made me think of it. Even if you're not as bubbly, you don't have to be super bubbly to be enthusiastic.
Right.
Using the product, I think, is helpful. Smiling on the demos, obviously, if you can have fun. But even just some of the questions you ask, like you can cut the rope or explain something and be like, isn't that cool? Or, do you have anything that like the guarantee, do you have anything that has that guarantee? I know, isn't that awesome? It's the best guarantee I've seen on any product I have. Or, you just ask a little bit of those questions to be like, isn't that cool? How did that work? What do you think of that? Or how did that feel? Or whatever.
It's actually, it's kind of cliche, and I know that it just sounds like you've heard it so many times, but on the back of your manual where it says follow the manual, cut a lot of food, have a lot of fun, those 3 things are just following the approach. If you have a lot of fun, regardless of whether you make sales, it'll be worth it. You will have made a friend.
And you tend to get more referrals that way.
Yeah, exactly.
If they enjoy it.
If you cut a lot of food, then they're obviously going to be enthusiastic about it because of what I just said a second ago. If they're using it, they're going to be excited about it.
Yeah.
And if you follow the manual, then there's really no way you could go wrong.
It's a proven program.
So many people
worked for thousands of reps.
Yeah.
Probably hundreds of thousands over 60 years. But,
right, so leading questions, like you said, definitely do help. Just being like, what do you think of that? Do you know anybody who could use that? What would they use it? What would you use this for?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a good question.
It's funny, in case you're that rep that feels like you're not enthusiastic, a simple question like, isn't that cool? Something so simple as that.
And then just
at least has a little enthusiasm.
Listening to them when they get enthusiastic about it and just smiling.
Yes, absolutely. Not making them feel bad for being excited. Sometimes if reps aren't excited enough, and the customers are kind of like, okay, maybe I'm being weird because I like these knives so much. So that's why it's good to be a little enthusiastic at least. If they get excited, just at least be like, yeah.
Smile. Smile.
Give them a high five. Like whatever. So, absolutely.
I think the #1 thing about this job is that not only that I get to spend extra time with my son, but I'm a better mom because of not the way that I talk to my son, not the communication skills that I've built or whatever, which I have, but the means in which I take care of my son on a day-to-day organizational scale. And that is still, by the way, I will just put it out there, that is my biggest weakness, is organization. But I am 12,000 times better at that than I was 3 years ago. And being able to implement those things into my son's life, getting him to school on time, making sure that he has a regular schedule, is just, I've seen our mother-son relationship improve because of those things. So,
very cool.
Like,
what else more can you ask for?
Like
That's
Cutco changes people's lives just as a product. The company literally has improved my life and my family's life.
Right.
Very
cool. That's the key that's come out of the conferences. Just almost every challenge was just overcome by just get to work. Just get to work. Make the phone calls.
Just do it. Just get to work. No matter what problems you're having in life, like you were saying, instead of focusing on the problem or why you can't do something, then instead just focus on how you can do it. What steps you need to take to be able to achieve that, and then do it. Just get to work. So,
awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Misha. I think it's been great stuff.
I always love talking to you, Amy.
Thanks, you too. And we will be back again, I'm sure, with another QRT.